Good evening, everyone. Welcome. This is our fifth meeting out in the community to talk about the residential trash collection. And I want to welcome you. I'm John Lyons. I'm the Public Utilities Director for Hillsborough County. And within our department, we have the Solid Waste Division. So we'll get started. And what will happen tonight is that we'll go through a brief slideshow, kind of talk about some of the information, some of the options out there. If there's any comments or questions, we'd ask that you come up to the microphone because we are recording this. And that way we'll be able to, if for any questions, if we can't respond to them tonight, we'll be able to understand them better and hear what your exact question was. So once we get to that point, if you could come up to the microphone and make a comment, that's why we're here. And have any questions, we'll get there as well. So we'll get started. So why are we here? The current collection contracts that we have been in place since 1996. Back in about 2002, they were renegotiated, but they expire. They all expire. All three of them expire in September of 2013, on September 30th. And so we started this process early because the board decided, instead of renegotiating the contracts, to go through a competitive bidding process. And so to date, what has happened is we've put two different types of contracts out on the street, one for the residential collection and one for processable material, the recycling processable materials. We'll send that to a facility, and I'll get into that in just a little bit. And once again, tonight, we're asking for your input. We're asking for your questions. We'd appreciate it if you'd fill out the comment sheets, and there's some other means that we'll put up on the screen, I think in the handouts too, that you can reach out on the web, by phone, and some other methods to give us your input. On your current tax bill, and I know this is pretty much impossible to see, there's an assessment on the tax bill. It's in the red circle there. There's two assessments actually for solid waste. One is for the disposal fee, the other is for the collection, and that's what we're talking about tonight, is just the collection side of that. Currently, that assessment for 2013 is about $148.60 for a single-family residential. Of that, there's about $15 in operating cost internal to the county. That includes administrative cost, the environmental cost, the cost of running our transfer stations to move trash from one place to the other. And then, so that means the contractual pass-through cost is about $133. Because these new contracts will begin in 2014, we're projecting ahead. There's a CPI index in the existing contracts, and there'll be one in the new contracts. So we're projecting ahead that that rate would, that pass-through cost would go up to about $139.56 in 2014. So these contracts won't take effect for over a year from now as far as affecting the tax bill. So kind of keep that $139.56 number in mind as we kind of go through the different options that we have. We've also redistricted the county. Currently, there are 3 districts for the 3 vendors that we have, and they're kind of unbalanced. We have about 250,000 customers in the system, and those boundaries were established back in 1996. And so through growth and the change of everything that's gone on in the last 16 years, it's become unbalanced. So we decided that we wanted to do a couple things. One is rebalance the districts. We have about 50,000 customers per district, and also give the opportunity to receive bids on those 5 districts from as many bidders that want to come in. And the way it's set up is that one bidder can win up to 2 districts. So we would have anywhere from 3, 4, or 5 vendors depending on how the bids come in on this. Okay, the first option, and the pricing we're talking about now, are based on the actual bids and the process to select the low bidders for the 5 districts. They haven't been finalized. There's not a contract in place with anyone yet. That'll go to the board in January to have a discussion with them in a workshop setting, and they'll ultimately make the final decision of which type of level of service, and that'll establish the contract price. So the first option we call 211 manual service, which is exactly what everybody receives today. Twice a week trash pickup, once a week recyclables, and once a week yard waste pickup. And the trash is picked up in your own consumer-owned, your can, your trash bags, whatever. That's how it gets to the street today. The total collection cost based on those bids is right at about $100. So it's $100 versus the projected cost of about $139. So the difference there is about $39. Now the next three options that we received bids on talk about, and I'll show the carts up here, and there's an example of these up front. It goes to an automated service, and what that means is that instead of the guy getting out and manually dumping the can into the truck, there's a couple ways that that could happen. One would be a fully automated truck that would reach out and grab one of these standardized carts and pick it up and dump it in the truck, or it could be a combination where they put a device on the back of the existing trucks. They would wheel the cart around and it would dump up into the back of the truck with the assist of a hydraulic lift. And so there's three different options or three different sizes that we've displayed up here: a 95-gallon cart, a 65-gallon cart, and a 35-gallon cart. And depending on the level of service will be how it's kind of mixed up. Also included in the pricing, and should be a single page sheet that was handed out, it shows a projected cost that's broken into into two numbers that get to the total. There's a collection contract cost, which is that pass-through cost that we talked about. And there's also a cost in there for 2 carts provided to each house. And that's $16.80 for the first 7 years of the contract. So that means those 2 carts over the period of 7 years are going to cost about $116 plus or minus, about $58 each, excuse me, for taking that out over a period of time. That's a very conservative estimate. If we go down this road and we receive bids on the carts, hopefully we'll get better pricing, which will push those costs down a little bit more. So under option 2, once again, it's an automated system. It's 211 service, same type of service we have as far as the number of times you get picked up on a weekly basis. Twice a week garbage in a standard size cart, once a week recyclables in a standard size cart, and the once a week yard waste pickup, which is exactly the way it's done today. There's no changes in how yard waste will be collected. And that total collection cost will be about $111.65 for that level of service. Option 3, we're going to a 111 automated service. And again, standardized carts. It reduces the trash pickup to once a week. The recyclables will still be once a week, and the yard waste will be once a week. The total collection cost for that is projected to be about $104. And the numbers we're talking about on the pricing, that's just in the first year. In all the contracts, there's a CPI, a consumer price index adjustment in there that'll adjust for for labor changes, for fuel changes. There would be a different CPI if the vendors chose to go, say, to a CNG type truck, a compressed natural gas truck, fuel truck, as opposed to diesel. So there's going to be some variation as time goes on. Option number 4 is again an automated service, once a week trash pickup. Recycling drops back to every other week, and then the yard waste will still be at once a week, same type of service you have today. Total collection cost is about $97.77. So there's information, this information is out on the website if you didn't get a handout tonight, or if you want to tell your neighbors where it's at, hillsboroughcounty.org//talktrash. There's also, you can fill out the comment sheet. We appreciate your comments on this. We're going to pass copies of all the comments onto the board as we finish up with the meetings. You can send an email to talktrash@hillsboroughcounty.org. You can text, call, or leave a message at 813-704-0181. You can voice your thoughts on our blog, www.hillsboroughcounty.org/talktrash to participate. And then next week, or the following week, I believe it is, there will be a push-out telephone survey to about 20,000 random existing customers to get a sampling of what everybody's opinion is on this. Once again, your opinion counts. This is not a decision. It's not a foregone decision by the department. We're collecting all the information. We're going to pass that on and go through there. With regard to recycling, there's a separate bid out on the street, or that we received bids on regarding recycling. We're going to a single stream recycling, and what that means is you don't have to separate the recycling anymore. The type of plastics is going to be expanded as the type of materials. So I think today it's the ones and twos. It'll go with 1 through 7s. So the variety of material that will go in there. The pizza box that shouldn't go in there today can go in there. We're also looking, because just kind of the methodology has changed in the way the haulers collect the recycling now, is possibly expanding that program and getting it widened out sooner than next year. We're going to be investigating that to see what we can do. So at this point in time, if anybody has any questions or has any comments, we'd appreciate if you'd come up to the mic. We'll get them answered. We have our consultant here from Kessler Consulting that can answer any super technical questions that I can't answer. But come on down, and after we're all done, if you want to come up and drag the carts around, open them up, kick them, that's your prerogative.
I just want to make sure that I understand. The cost of the containers is included in the annual cost that we would be charged. That's not, we would not pay that in addition to.
Yes, that's, okay. And that's the price that was represented, and it's the total column on this single piece of paper.
Okay, just wanted to.
Yes. And just one point of clarification too is, for example, if we were to go automated and stick with twice a week trash pickup, somebody might not need this 95-gallon container. You might be able to go with a smaller container. So what we're going to do, if we go automated, and once we get to that level of service that's determined, we're going to reach out to our customers and say, okay, what do you want? We have to order, if we go down this road, we'll have to order 500,000 of these containers. And so we can't obviously stock a whole bunch of a variety of sizes, but we also want to be able to accommodate folks. You know, if you live alone, don't generate much trash, you don't need a 95-gallon container. So we want to make that flexibility as much as possible into the system. Thank you for your comments.
Yes, you were talking about increase in cost. Who will have the control or oversight in the increase in expenses in the future years?
It's a standardized formula that's put into the contract. It goes on Southeastern labor rates. It's a published thing by the Department of Labor. Fuel costs, all those indexes are published. They're out there, and it's basically a plug-in formula that you get to that variation.
And so each of these will have to follow the same formula?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And if you go to automated, how many people are projected to lose their jobs? Since we're contracting this out, we can't speak for what the vendor's going to do. As I mentioned, you could go to a fully automated type of truck, but they're going to have to make that investment in a new truck to do that. If they have the existing trucks, it may be a transitional period that they do that. I don't know the answer to that question, and we've heard that comment before. Okay, and the third thing is you'll furnish the people, the taxpayers, one bin. If they need another bin over the course of the year, is it going to be additional cost to us, or is it going to be? For a trash bin, for example, yes. And the cost of that would be the delivery of it would be a $30 delivery fee for that cart. So if you had a big family, for example, and you generated a lot of trash, and one wasn't adequate enough for you, we would work to provide that second cart. Okay, it costs $30. Okay. And that's a delivery charge. That's not the cost of the cart. If we went down and picked it up, would you charge us $30?
We probably would have that option to go pick it up.
Would or would not?
Would not. One other thing I'd like to mention too, as far as bulk items go, in today's contract, there's a schedule in the contract that says, you know, to pick up a refrigerator, it costs so much, to pick up a washing machine, a sofa, those type of things. There's also, in addition to that fixed fee, there's a $50 charge that goes to the contractor, and both fees actually go to the contractor. In the new contract, the $50 surcharge is going away, so it's just that fixed fee to pick up a refrigerator, to pick up a stove, dishwasher, you know, any of those bulky items that you can't transport to a community collection center. And that's always an option too, if folks aren't aware of that there are community collection centers, one at Hillsborough Heights, one at Alderman's Ford, one on 41, and one up on Linebaugh Avenue, that with your tax bill, you can bring materials to that directly in the back of your pickup truck or car. Consumer electronics, oil, batteries, metals, any of those type items.
I have a couple of questions. We live out on Dover Road, and most of our properties are about an acre back from Dover Road. So we have to cart everything up there. So we'd be more interested in doing it, you know, less often if we could. One of our questions is, right now our pickups are on Mondays and Thursdays. As it falls, a lot of holidays fall on Mondays. And so if we go to less often, for instance, if a holiday falls on a Monday, we now have to wait till Thursday. Does this mean we'd have to wait till the following Monday for our garbage pickup?
On a single once a week pickup, there would have to be a makeup day put in.
Oh, they would have a makeup date?
Yes, it's
Okay.
been built into the contract.
Good. And if for some reason we have a lot of big trucks that go by, one of these gets tipped over or something, and it's automated, do they manually then get out and upright it so they can pick it up? Or
They
they
should.
wouldn't just leave it, would they?
They should, yes. These are pretty beefy carts compared to the one you can buy at the hardware store. They're a bit heavier, they're durable, they're warranted for 10 years. The typical life we've seen on these are, upwards of 12 years plus.
So what about recyclables? As far as the holiday situation, if we went to like every other for recyclables, that could mean 3 or 4 weeks of not having them picked up, depending on if there were back-to-back Monday holidays. Would they have makeup days for those
There'd be
as well?
any of the single pickups, there would have to be a makeup day.
Okay. I think that was it.
Okay, thank you.
I have one question that doesn't directly relate to these choices, and I'll make it quick. You have these different size things, but the price is one size fits all. I pay double because I have 2 deeds. I'm one person. I often only have the little garbage bag, like a little grocery bag, and when I put it out, they do not pick it up.
They should pick that up.
They just think it's insignificant.
Sure.
But that's just my complaint, that everybody's paying the same amount, yet one person may use 2 of these. I don't even use one of those. Years ago, they had exemptions, and I had exemption. I had no garbage pickup because I do not have garbage. I make some just to give it to them. But it's the truth. It's the truth. I have goats, chickens, everything eats everything. I recycle everything, I reuse, I rot. I don't need pickup at all, and yet the county makes me pay double.
And that's the way the ordinance is set up, and we'll bring
Okay.
those comments back to the commissioners as well.
Okay, that's just my complaint. The other thing is, about the bins, I don't know how much you're in a rural area, but I don't care how good they are, they're gonna get run over. Any of you have that happen? Roughneck, can't be destroyed, ha! These can too. And then, if you have to pay to have them replaced, that's an expense that we shouldn't have to go through. And also about the tipping them over, I think if it's automated, they are not going to stop. I'll be honest with you. They're not going to do it because if they get tipped over now, they're not required to pick it up. They're not going to do that. And one other thing, just on a general thing about the difference between the automated and the other, we have enough unemployment in this county right now. Let's not fire all our garbage collectors.
Thank you, ma'am.
Well, the lady in the gray shirt addressed my first concern about the once a week. So if there's a makeup day, I'm happy with that. So I was happy about the makeup day. I was concerned about that. Also, a big concern for me is I live 500 feet off the road. And I was recently given one of these 95-gallon cans. It's all I can do to put it in the back of my pickup truck, empty. If it's full of a week's worth of trash, 2 weeks worth of trash, I can't pick it up and put it in the back of my pickup truck, and I can't drag it 500 feet up a dirt road to get to the hard road. So that's a big concern for me. Then another concern I have is that I live right down the street on Newsom Road. And the kids, the students, are not supposed to be going down because they have a gate and a fence, but they climbed the 8-foot gate, and they have trashed my road terribly. So what I've been thinking about is if I can leave one of my old cans out there with a sign for them to please use it, I think they would, most of them would. But then if it's just one of my old cans or even extra can, I would need an extra can for that. And
We're going to try to be as flexible. If we go with automated, we'll try to be as flexible as possible. We realize that some folks live by themselves. We realize that some folks just don't generate. My wife and I don't generate very much trash. We also realize that some folks have a house full of people and they generate a lot of trash. And so we're trying to do everything we can to accommodate that through this whole process. There may be a family very well that if we went to the 111 that need 2 95-gallon cans.
Or would you have to pay extra?
No. We're trying to roll all that into the system.
Well, can you get, is this one automated too?
Yes.
Okay.
I
really wouldn't want either of those because it would be too difficult to get in the back of my truck. Okay.
Thank you.
My question, and I'm not quite sure if I understood you a while ago, how long will this contract price stay? And I know I heard you say 7 years, but in that 7 years, how many times can they go up in price? Because I heard you also say that if for gas prices, for enhancements for their truck and all, so then the 7-year contract that you signed is not actually a 7-year contract. It's per whatever cost that they're going to be increasing.
It is a 7-year contract with an option to extend it for 3 more years, for 10 years. Mm-hmm. The existing contract that we have today is, has been going on, but there's a consumer price index adjustment in there. So what that does is if, the price, it'd be hard for any of us to project out what fuel is going to cost 2 years from now, much less today. And it gives that option to, in a controlled environment, to be able to make those adjustments in cost. And those are looked pretty diligently to do that. If the economy's flat and there's not much adjustment there, the adjustment will be small. And it's pretty much a standard contracting practice for anything that goes long term.
Well, we happen to be going through a problem now with the water company that we're dealing with, and I'm just curious to whether or not that, if they're saying they need to enhance the trucks or they had some trucks break down, that how do we actually know as the people that are out there in the county actually know that they didn't just decide, well, let's buy 15 new trucks and that gets passed on to us?
That would not be a pass-through cost to you. They have to build that into their budget.
And if it was decided to go to the automated, can you put your address on the can?
The cans should have serial numbers. The other thing that we're putting on the cans, on these automated cans, will be what they call RFID technology, radio frequency identification tags, and the trucks will have those on it. And part of that whole automation is we'll know the serial numbers associated to a folio number, for example, or your address.
Right.
As far as putting a sticker on it that says, this belongs to Mrs. Jones on Newsom Road or whatever, I don't think that's going to be an issue. But we'll also be able to know when the trash was picked up. That'll be an automated kind of system, so that'll help us in some customer service issues.
Well, that's why I was concerned, because you always have some people that have slippery little hands, that they might need an extra one, or theirs got broke or something, and so they come along and they happen to yours is out there, and
sure.
If you're someone that's at work and yours is still sitting out by the curb or out by the road, that they decide to help theirself to it, how do we,
well, at some point with the RFID technology, you'll be able to associate an address to the pickup, and so if your can is missing in action and it showed up somewhere else in the system, we would know that.
Okay. And my other is the yard waste. Right now, with who we have, yard waste, I always cut my limbs, if there's limbs or whatever, within a reasonable, 2 feet, 3 feet or something like that, and I stack it. But with these others, it's showing that they're tied. And from what I understood before, that the tying is messing up the machines when they throw it in, so.
That won't change. However we package it today, there's still the same 2 cubic yards per pickup.
Okay.
It's all the same.
Okay, so bags of leaves,
Yes.
and then, so if you have cans, they'll still
Yes.
do the cans as well as the leaves and all?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Good evening. Living in the rural areas here, we all have some unique problems. My problem exists with the distance from where I live to the main road. It's 5/10 of a mile. In that 5/10 of a mile, there are 6 other homes that are there. It's a private road, but you can't come down that road. There's no turnaround. The problem is some of the neighbors that are there, that are presently there, because they aren't the original owners of the properties, put out so much trash it is unbelievable. And it sits there, and they put out anything. They don't read brochures, and I look out right now, and I see none of them here, which is apropos for them not to appear. However, one of the other problems that we have, how will you determine, I know you said something about the folios.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these people haven't paid taxes in 5 years. You can go online and you can see the taxes haven't been paid in 5 years. And that's my concern, that we people here probably pay our taxes every year, probably pay them early. And you're going to issue these things out by folio. How do you control that? I mean, what do you do?
Well, the assessment should be caught if they're, if they're in arrears in taxes, they're probably in arrears in the assessment. And they probably wouldn't be eligible for trash pickup. I don't know the specific answer to that question, but if you can get with one of our folks that's at the front
Mm-hmm.
and let them know with your address and stuff, we'll look into that and get back with you.
Okay, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing, I mentioned the number of homes there and where we have to place it. We have no flat surface other than our driveway, which is a dual driveway,
Mm-hmm.
because we have the ravines on both sides that leads to the creek. Anyway, I can't see 8 of these cans in the driveway if it goes to an automated system. I would love it. Personally, it would work for me, but I don't think it would work for my other neighbors, except one other one. If we go to the automated system, how do we adjust for that pickup?
We'd have to look at the situation individually. I mean, we're hoping that there's an area flat enough that the cans could sit. If folks are putting out cans now, how's that working? Just piles of stuff?
Piles of stuff
Okay.
in the center, and I happen to be retired, and I'm about the only one that's out there, well, with the exception of one other neighbor that goes out and pick out the trash, because we would prefer it to be a dump pickup, but unfortunately, the cans stay out quite a time, and then I get irritated about it, and I'll throw it in their yards. Of course, it doesn't mind me. They know who does it.
Sure.
It's me. So they can knock on my door, and that's not a frightful thing for me.
What we can do is, since I don't know the specific answer to that, we can look into that and see how it's being done in other rural counties. Polk County, for example, is rural as Hillsborough County is, and they're using the automated system now. We can look into that. What we can do is post the answer back up on the frequently answered questions, and we can get back with you on that, because that is important. I understand the issue with that.
Especially with the automation, because I see them in the city, and it's home by home by home, but where, like I said, some of us have unique situations,
Sure.
and mine happened to be one of those situations where there's impossible, and they would need 2 or 3 of those, some of them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Roadside Ditch, alias Trash Collector. As proven by some people such as renters, temporary residents, and others who do not want to spend the money, or maybe they don't have the money to spend, to haul away large pieces of junk. Large pieces of furniture, old appliances, water heaters, old tires, and much other junk are all brought to me, the Roadside Ditch, because I can't say no. They may call the trash hauling company and get a price to pick up and haul away the big trash, and that price is not within their budget. They may then decide to bring it to me, the Roadside Ditch. They may even look for someone else cheaper. You call, we haul, to haul it away. Perhaps some of those haulers will even bring it to me. If this type of trash is taken to the community collection stations, it may not be accepted. You may be directed to take it to the Southeast landfill. In order to deposit anything at the landfill, you need ID, a tax bill that matches the ID address, showing you pay for solid waste collection and solid waste disposal. Without these, it's too bad, so sad, you can't leave it here. Getting rid of these unwanted items by bringing them to me, your Roadside Ditch, is looking more and more like the only way. Bring your trash to me, the roadside ditch. I won't tell anyone. Your secret is safe with me. Of course, the county spends a lot of money, taxpayer money, cleaning me up. But this only serves so I can collect more trash. Then more cleaning up and then more trash. It never ends. An alternate plan would be to initiate a once-a-week household trash and yard trash pickup and a less frequent recyclables pickup. This would enable the county or the trash hauling company to accept phone calls and schedule pickups for this large trash once or twice a month. They would have the extra trucks and the extra people by the automated service to pick up these large pieces of trash. I have some roadside ditch friends in Polk County, and they tell me that's how they do it. And Polk County covers a lot more land area than Hillsborough County. I do believe that the taxpayers of Hillsborough County are paying enough to have their trash, all of their trash, removed. I surely do hope the county commissioners and the county people in charge of the trash pickup will consider this, because I, your outlying roadside ditch, would like to be known as something other than trash collector. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I don't want to stand for you. Sorry. Never cut in front of your wife.
I don't see where there's a choice here for manual pickup once a week.
No, ma'am.
And why is that?
We discussed, internally and with our consultant, we had to narrow it down to a reasonable number of choices as far as alternates go. And we didn't include that because that's pretty atypical to do it a manual way. The automated would be more of that 111 automated service as opposed to a manual service.
Why is that? Because people have so much trash? Is that what you mean?
Well, the tendency, nationwide, the tendency is to go to automated service. It's more and more like that, that type of service levels, to go to the automated trucks. Here we're trying to give choices to folks. We couldn't have unlimited choices. It gets too complex at that point.
But I noticed, there were 3 automated and only 1 manual choice. So
yes.
We just happen to be people that could do with a pickup once a week. So we'd like the savings. If there could be a savings. Now, who is paying for these things here?
The customers. Each of us customers would pay for those over a period of time. That's on the single sheet of paper. It's that $16.80 annual assessment for 7 years. So these garbage cans will cost a little bit better than $50 each.
Okay. So when they're smashed by a truck on the road, then we call whoever picks up our garbage and they'll bring us a new one? Is that?
For a fee, for $30.
For $30. That's the delivery fee?
Yes. And kind of in the same situation, if you were to, lose your trash can, you buy your own trash can now.
Yeah. Now it's, smashed by a truck or car or something, or smashed and thrown in the ditch, So I really, so it's only $30, you're saying. Okay, I'm just trying to think how much I pay for another a regular garbage can now. So I guess that would be within. So how many times a year or whatever could someone call and get a replacement can?
Well, we hope none, but
well, it happens.
Yeah, we understand it happens, but I would suspect that it's not going to happen that often. We would hope not. If it's an issue where the cans are placed.
Well, we're on Dover Road, and we have rental property, so we have several people that are under our, so we have many more than just one garbage that we're dealing with here. Sure. So, but we pay taxes, of course, on all three pieces of property. They all have garbage. So understandably, we could be calling you.
Yes.
because we live on Dover Road, and the truck is, or something's always, you know, smashing our garbage can. So, okay. So how are you choosing which program that you're going to go with?
We're not choosing. We're collecting, us as the solid waste division, we're collecting information from these town meetings that we're having. We're getting everybody's opinions. We're going to do the telephone survey. We're collecting all that information. We're going to bring this back to the Board of County Commissioners in January. Ultimately, they will make that decision. They'll look at the information received from the public. They'll look at the pricing, and they'll make that decision.
Okay, so you're saying today? I mean, people in this meeting are voting now?
No, ma'am. We're just asking for your opinion. We're not taking a vote.
Okay, so I'm sorry. I didn't understand how it was going to be decided.
The board will do that
Just
through
the board will decide.
through their workshop. They'll have a discussion amongst themselves and make that decision.
So they're just going to figure it out. Okay. And now, where can someone have, like, if they have like an old mattress that has to be picked up, where are we calling now that we can get this service?
Today, you would call the current, whoever provides your service today. Okay. You would call them up. There's, in the contract that we have with them, there's a fixed fee for that type of item.
And how much is that?
It's a whole list, menu of stuff, and what we'll do is if you could talk to one of the folks out front and get your information, we'll get that to you. Okay. It's something we need to post up on the website as well.
Yeah, because, yeah.
Yes.
Refrigerator, washer.
Yes.
Plastic bins. Okay.
Mattress.
Dear, call
My turn. So, in addition to, but not superior to, my wife's opinion, if the county commissioners, in their infinite wisdom, pick an automated service, it'll be like this. Oh, yeah, we can lay off this many people here, save on, yeah, we'll do automated. That's about how it's going to go. You know it is. Where's the cheesecake pie?
Pardon me?
Where's the cheesecake pie?
The cheesecake pie?
Yeah, that'll be as they're walking out the door. Or maybe they'll have it catered, I'm not sure. Enough picking on the county commissioners. Over the years, it's gotten better, but then it got worse. Our garbage can is like this one, but a little larger. And we usually have 2 of these, in addition to my tenant. So there could be 4 garbage cans in one spot. Well, I finally got that corrected. I said, look, there's 2 residences, 3 residences, and 2 use the same pickup point. Because I also live 792 feet from Dover Road. And I have to haul, I wish I had one like that with big wheels. One I had didn't have any wheels at all because it was knocked off by the pickup crew. They let me pretty nice. It's on there pretty good. It's on there pretty good. 2 weeks at the most. They had ripped that lid off, past the little knobs and everything, because it was supposed to swing over and stop.
Sure.
Both of those cans were supplied by the pickup company that serves us. I don't know if you want their name or what. But our current service, the manager brought to me, because we had the round ones and the lids were gone, or halfway down the ditch, or on their way to the creek, because it's like, you know, just rip it off, throw it anywhere, but put it back on the can. I don't understand that part. Just throw it down.
What-
Anyway, the ones that were replaced were the ones with the real nice lid and the hinged back. Like I said, and 2 weeks later, they've managed to destroy them. So I don't know whose property they're destroying, mine or yours.
They're destroying the county's property, the county solid waste system's property. In the existing contract, there's performance standards that they're supposed to adhere to, and if we hear your concerns or complaints, we go to the contractor and talk with them about it. In the vein, if they tear up your trash can, they should replace it. If we go with an automated system, these things are pretty heavy duty. They're time tested in a lot of municipalities. You know, the vendors know how to handle them. If there's a manufacturing defect, they are warranted for 10 years, and we'll get them fixed.
I don't know what class they went to, but this one would be ripped off too eventually. I ended up drilling a hole in the lid in the can and tying it on with some twine. So unless they want to cut it with a knife or untie the knot, that lid is staying on there. Sorry. But believe me, when I was in the military, I climbed in and out of enough ditches at 30 years old. I'm twice that age now, and I don't really feel it's my job to go rectify someone else's carelessness. If you can, that's being nice. I actually viewed, this was before I got the new cans, one of the pickup men standing on the edge of the culvert. I was at my other rental house, I was back of it, so I could look around the corner and watch him, and he couldn't see me. He had a lid in his hand, and he stood on the edge of the culvert, and like he was thinking, what am I going to do? And what he did was throw it in the ditch. So that's what I bet more people in here have that problem. And all the people that did, I know there's more than about 45 people that live in Dover. Why they're not here, I don't know. Maybe they didn't see the sign. I saw it by sign. So I don't want to pay for this. If the county commission goes to the automated service, option 311, that means we have to buy one of these cans.
They'll be part of your assessment, yes.
Okay. In our 2014
Be in the 2014
taxes. So all next year, it's going to stay the same as we have today.
Yes.
And 2014, at the stroke of 1 minute after midnight.
On October 1st.
October 1st.
Yes.
Forgot about that. I didn't know New Year's was in October.
The contracts end in September.
Hey, I need to work for them. But whenever we will, and the county decides to go to an automated service, who picks the automated service for
the county? The Board of County Commissioners will.
For me?
For all the residential customers,
So
yes.
all the residential customers will get the same thing?
Yes.
I was wondering how the driver is going to know which plan this house is on.
One plan for everybody.
Mm-hmm. So if these cans are destroyed, and they will be, and I'm not being facetious, like I heard a person say earlier, Man, you could build these out of titanium, and they might last a while. But you don't live out here, do you?
No, sir.
Oh, it's hard to explain to someone who doesn't live out here, to us who do, what kind of service and I'm getting when I've got this here, and as I say, the cans that were provided by the manager, the lids on them, the ears are torn off, and you go out to get your garbage and you see all this. It probably doesn't happen in the city.
Well, with regard to any specific complaints that you have or problems you have with the existing hauler, we need to know that because we can address that with the hauler. The hauler has certain obligations within the contract to not tear stuff up, for example. If that's what's going on, if we don't know that, if you're not making the county aware of it, we can't do anything about it. And I would like to get your information so we can look into that a little bit more and see what's going on.
Okay, I have a phone number of Damien.
Yeah, Damien, fellow back there in the pink shirt, he takes care of those type issues.
I've got his phone number.
Okay.
So I will work with him.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your comments.
Now, I've got no problem with the pickup. They come when they're supposed to come, and they don't come when they're not supposed to come. Okay, that's all I have now.
Thank you, sir.
Point of clarification, I understand that whichever option that the commissioners choose, it will be implemented countywide.
Yes, sir.
Have you considered the possibility of choosing various options depending on the nature of the district as you've outlined in your map there?
That's something we talked about, and it's pretty atypical to have different levels of service or different types of service in any one district. With 250,000 plus customers over, I think our coverage is probably somewhere close to 1,000 square miles, 900 to 1,000 square miles. It makes it logistically pretty tough to track all that and keep on top of it. I think it would drive the costs up, quite honestly.
Okay, it did seem to me that certain options, like automated options, might be much more applicable to the areas where you have fairly dense customers. That's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
You probably don't need that for me. I'm loud anyway. I've been in the neighborhood for 43 years. Been in there for 43 years. We've had garbage pickup twice a week, which I like. Have no complaints with my garbage service. If they miss me, I call them up. They come back the same day and pick it up. My thing is, I like it twice a week, and I'm hearing and reading through the lines that it doesn't matter what we choose or try to choose. Sounds like y'all have already made up your mind on that automotive coming out once a week.
Absolutely not, ma'am.
Sound like.
I mean, I'm the department director, and I've not made up my mind on anything.
Yeah.
We're here to collect comments from the public. I mean, I'm a customer as you are, and it's the choice of how much money and what type of service that everybody wants to pay.
Well, twice a week, and the service guys that we have, the garbage bid that we have, they're good. They come by, they pick it up. You call them back, and they come back. I like the twice a week. I don't like the automatic.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
I've got a couple questions. Has the county determined what type of truck they're going to use, compressed natural gas or diesel?
There was, in the board workshop that they had last summer, it seems like it was so long ago, but there was a lot of discussion about the board looked at the contract specifications, and there were certain things in there that they had comments on as to, you know, who would qualify, the type of vehicle, the age of vehicle type of thing. There was no incentive put in there, per se, to go from a diesel truck to a CNG type of truck. However, the CPI indexing would be different based on the cost of the fuel for the CNG versus a diesel, whatever those indexes may be. And those are totally left up to be business decisions by the companies.
All right, very good. My second question is there any studies that show where automated is safer versus a gentleman back behind the truck, what's in the road, like we live on Dover Road and traffic, travels up through there at great speeds and
Sure.
seem like some dangerous situation. Is there any factual information what would show where automated is safer?
Well, I can defer that to my friend Don here, who works for Kessler Consulting and has worked in many municipalities.
Thanks, John. Yes, as a matter of fact, automated collection is safer than the manual collection. The men on the back of the truck, it is very physical and labor intensive, and being on the road, they are in the way of traffic, and accidents have occurred and people have been severely injured. Carts do assist with the heavy lifting because the truck has an automated feature, can lift it, does the heavy lifting for the employee, and I mean, how much I'm going to go into this?
No, I think that's good.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
I've actually lived in a municipality that used automated. For people with concerns about unemployment, there typically were 3 men on one truck, 2 to do the loading, 1 to drive. Currently in my neighborhood, it's not uncommon for me to see 1 man driving as well as having to jump out and do the lifting. Again, I understand that's something you have no control over because you are contracting this out as you have for, 15 years or more now?
Almost 17, yes.
Almost 17. I had a question about the size of that would be determined, that would be, the customer would not get to pick, send me a 65, 95.
Not exactly. The typical situation would be that if you had the 111 service, for example, you would once a week trash, once a week recycling. With the single stream recycling, we would probably recommend a 95-gallon for trash, 65-gallon for recycling.
Okay.
If you were, living by yourself, or
Right.
like myself and my wife, we probably don't generate enough trash in a week to even fill the 65. So as we move forward, if the options are chosen, the automated option is chosen, and it's whichever level of service it is, we would go out and poll our consumers so we can order these carts. Now we can't just stock a whole warehouse full of them and trade them out on a weekly basis or anything like that. We have to have some sort of idea of what folks want, because like I said, we'd have to order 500,000 of these.
Question about, as we all most of us seem to live in a rural area, rodent proof?
They're pretty durable. They're pretty thick plastic. The lids are heavier and they stick down. For example, my understanding is that if you live in an area, say raccoons or whatever, there's a clip you can get to put on there to hold the lid down, say during the week.
And remove that okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Unless the raccoon can figure out how to take the clip off, I guess. So.
How is it that we get the $39 savings by not changing anything?
It was going through a competitive bid process based on the pricing that we have today. That was the choice the board discussed at great length in the last year, was to either sit down with the existing 3 vendors and renegotiate the contract as it was done in 2002, or go out for a competitive bid process, and that's exactly what happened. And this is the results of the bidding.
Well, I see it's next to the cheapest, and the only cheaper one is the option 4, where you get it picks up once a week. Mm-hmm. So it almost seemed like a no-brainer to me to just stick with what we have, and for $2 more, and I'd be happy with that, especially if you could get the guys to throw the cans a little further from the road so they don't stay on the road and get hit by cars.
Okay.
So, because most of the time the smallest can would be fine for me, but occasionally if I do a cleanup, or if there's after Christmas or whatever, I need the big one, so I'd be about forced to take the big one just to handle those odd days or odd weeks. I also wanted to comment about the gentleman talking about the roadside ditch. He's right on the money.
Yes, sir.
I know this meeting is not about that type of problem.
Well, I appreciate your comments, and one thing that I've been in the department for about 6 months now, and one thing that we're looking at is trying to figure out those type issues. I came from the Public Works Department before, and I understand that because I dealt with the roadside ditches in the Public Works, and we are looking at ways that we can figure out to expand service to make it so it's more attractive not to dump stuff in the ditch. It does cost the taxpayers, as you mentioned, and we need to figure out a way to make that better, and we're working on that.
Well, that's certainly needed, because it's not just the roadside ditch, but they dump it on my property, and then I have to take it to the dump. So you're still processing this material. It's just somebody else is hauling it to the dump for
Exactly. That's exactly the point. And if you have any issues with folks dumping on your property, you can call the code enforcement folks. We have some environmental deputies in the sheriff's office that investigate that as best they can. We realize that sometimes it's, a pile of stuff that you can't tell who did it, but our code enforcement folks can help on that as well.
I've actually had the sheriff's department out, and in one case in particular, they found out who it was, and they had to come clean it up.
Okay.
So. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to inject something positive. I am familiar with the automatic system, and see that great big 95-gallon container? We used one of those for 12 years, and it always managed that those boys managed to get off for school every morning without taking it to the road. At one time, I weighed 100 pounds. I could whip that thing out to the road just like that. So that little old 95-gallon thing was just as good 12 years later as it was the day we started. And the entire community all used the same size because the trucks were geared to it. It worked wonderful. The only thing was, if you didn't fill it up, well, just don't take it out that week. Wait till the next week. But they're sturdy, and the one with the handle is easily managed because it's got good sturdy handle, big wheels. And if a 100-pound little old lady, well, wasn't so old then, could tip it and push it to the road, you could too. It works wonderful. And they stay up when those trucks go by. A lot better than these here silly things. I live in the country too. I'm Mrs. Roadside Ditch, and we see all that garbage up and down the road. And it's not county money, it's taxpayers' money that pay to haul that garbage out. I heard that county money.
Well, the county money, absolutely right.
It's not county money, honey.
The county money comes from the taxpayers.
That's
You're absolutely
right.
right.
Thank you. You would like it?
Thanks. I just wanted to express excitement about the single stream recycling. Very excited that we're finally going to do that. Just have a question about if we maintain our current manual service. I think the option says we'll use the same bins.
Yes.
Since we are able to do single stream and hopefully expanded plastics and materials in general, can we use more bins, or
we're looking at exploring either more bins or allowing you to even use your own trash can, for example, like the 32-gallon can. It's going to change the nature of the waste stream. We understand that, and so probably an expansion of the containers. It'll also eliminate that having to separate stuff. Everything can go in one container.
Right, and if you do go to the automated, I mean, one of the great things about the single stream is that should increase the volume of the recyclables, so that just having once a week collection, both the containers should be full instead of, twice a week collection. Sure. Where you've got garbage every time and then there's just that little container of recyclables a lot of the time. So I hope that will encourage our recycling efforts. So. Is there any possibility, you said there might be a chance we'll start single stream before the contracts?
We're looking into that right now, yes.
Okay,
but there's no firm date, but everybody will know as soon as we get there.
Okay.
The sooner the better as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, thank you.
I have two questions and concerns. The system we have right now, the manual, if it went to the automated, right now with our manual system, we have recycling and garbage pickup on the same day. But you indicated that you may have to request a smaller container, which is the one that's recyclable. So would that be a different day pickup then, so it wouldn't confuse?
If it was the same level of service where it was, you know, if it was the 111, it would be separate days. If it's the 211, there would be a matchup day in there most likely, and we'd have to designate the recycling container different from the garbage container.
How would that be done?
Probably a sticker would be the simplest solution. Or a different color, possibly.
And another concern I have, our property borders a trailer park, which has just the access road, you know, and the mailboxes. That's all that's beside us.
Yes.
Will there be guidelines as to, if it went to the automated, where these containers would be placed?
Yes.
That would not obstruct the mailboxes?
Yes.
Because I don't see where that's going to be happening.
The question came up a little bit earlier, and what we're going to do is take a look at some of the rural counties and get with our folks from Kessler and put some answers to that out on the frequently asked questions so that you can have that to make your decision, not wait until, if we go that way, to, you know, then we're telling you what to do. We want you to be able to voice your opinion on that.
Are there guidelines right now as far as placing trash that in relationship to mailboxes?
I would suspect there is. I haven't read the ordinance from cover to cover, but I would suspect there is.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I think we had any questions? Okay. Well, I think that's all I have tonight, and I appreciate everybody coming out and giving us your input and asking questions. Like I said, we'll get some stuff up on the web with regard to some of the questions I couldn't answer. You're more than welcome to come up and talk with us, kick the tires on one of these cans if you want to, wheel it around a little bit, and we'll be here as long as you need us to. Thank you very much.